Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. Today is day 3, and today we are going to learn about how you can go deploy these components. Although today we will not do the complete deployment, but we'll try to understand what are the steps behind this deployment. And in part 2, so today only after 10-minute break, so after 1 hour, I will open my VMware workstation and I'll show you that how you can import those images inside workstation, and then how you can build your lab. But again, this lab will continue tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll understand full-fledged lab. Okay, so before going there, I just wanted to show you here in my slide deck. This is the lab that we want to achieve. This is just a demo type of lab. Demo type of lab, that means that you know that you may have multiple data center, right? So suppose this is DC1, this is DC2, and then you may have multiple branches. If you categorize the branches, you'll find that you don't have n number of different type of branches. You'll find that you have only 4 or 6 different type of branches of same type. So what does it mean? What I'm telling, that when it comes to branch, if I have any new slide deck. So I'm telling here is this, that if you come to the branches, you'll find that you may have branch, you may have branch with single router and one ISP link. You may have branch with single router with 2 ISP or 3 ISP, or you may have branch with 2 different routers with 2 different ISP, or maybe they can go crisscross like this, or you may have branch with 2 different routers connecting themselves with some HSRP or any redundant protocol, or then it is going upwards, means then it has some WAN link. So if you go and categorize what types of branches you have, you'll not find more than 7 or 8 different types of branches. Okay, like that, if you go and categorize what types of data center you have, again, you'll find that there are limited number of data center design wise. Yeah. So that's why this particular demo type lab will serve purpose. So we'll assume that we have 1 data center or 2 data center, and these 2 data centers, they have some DCI interconnectivity in between. Some pipeline is there, maybe some L3 connection in between that, some cloud in between that. They are sharing their prefixes with BGP. So BGP peering is there in between. And then they have connectivity with the branch. In this lab or in upcoming lab, we'll find that we have transport, MPLS and internet both. So we are going to use both the transport. Just the overview of the normal lab topology. Once we start our lab, we'll go deep into that, and we'll perform different type of lab tasks. Okay, any questions so far?
Yes. So as I know that one VS devices at the branch side is having the maximum 8 TLOC, right? Means up to 8 TLOC we can configure here. Means up to 8 ISP link we can connect here, or
Yes.
more than that.
8 TLOC is, I think, more than enough, because you don't have more than 8 ISP link. So obviously there is some limit with TLOC. We'll come to that. When I'll cover TLOC and OMP and all those protocols, I'll show you that what is practically possible, what is theoretical possible. Theoretically, you'll find 16 or maybe 32, but maximum practically how much you have, you'll see that.
Okay, and one VS means in the branch side, which box is we are deploying, means it is the 1K or 2K?
Okay, so that is good question. In branch side, here you can see the diagram. You'll find that these boxes are V-Edge devices, but in our lab, you'll find the CS devices as well. So in branch side, we have mix of devices. We have V-Edge, and you'll find in our lab, You have C edge as well. V edge and C edge both.
When you say our lab, what does that mean?
Sorry, all.
When you say our lab, which lab you are referring? I
Yeah, the
didn't
lab
understand
that
this.
I will share with you, the different type of VeloCloud labs that I'll share with you just for your practice. Plus, if you want to build your own lab in your laptop, so in our lab, when you build your own lab, we have only VH devices. But the shared lab, in that lab, you'll find VH and CH both.
Okay.
So this CH is ISR or SR series router, right?
Yeah, we have discussed this earlier that it may be ISR, it may be ASR, it may be ISR with 1100 series
Right, right.
that has native
Mm.
operating system of Viptela, or it may be 8K catalyst switch.
Yeah, nowadays I think it is coming 8K, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah. And in data center, which type of device we need to install? It is the 5K or something else?
In data center, see, the 5K is high-end device, so obviously you can go and install that. But I have seen that people are using ISR routers everywhere in data center branches. If it is high throughput devices, then you can go for ASR as well. Because you have seen earlier in previous slide that ASR having uh, throughput, I think 2 gig or something, 4 gig, something like that. You can check that previous video, how much throughput we have with the ASR routers. So if it is high-end data center, then you can go for ASR. Otherwise, people are installing ISR. You can go with VEdge as well. VEdge, Cisco is not supporting VEdge, you know that. So that's why Cisco has created their own 8K switches. So instead of going for VEdge 5000 or VEdge 2000, go for 8K switches.
Okay, so in real-time scenario nowadays, suppose that in practical environment,
Mhm.
in data center, we are installing means this 5K or 8K is recently came in picture, right? So before
Okay.
that, it is the 5K, right?
Yeah.
So it is depend on the capacity of the box, means how much capacity is this box is having and how many branches is connecting from this data center. So it is totally depend on that capacity, means how much throughput this box is giving.
That's 100% right.
So I have one question. Like apart from this, how many links are coming? So there are some other parameters also dependent on this, right? Like how I'm choosing the box. So what are the other parameters to be considered when you're deploying in our client environment or designing?
Yep. I'll come to that design section.
Okay. Okay.
Meanwhile, Sam is there. Sam, can you tell me any deployment in data center, what devices you have used and why?
Uh, okay, so far with the last deployment that I use, those were the old V-Edge. I haven't used some of the new C-Edge devices. All the ones I've used were the C-Edge 2000, the 5000, depending on the throughput of this of the branch that you are migrating. Uh, we check on the routers on the site to see the throughput, and sometimes we go for the so small site with small throughput. We go for at that time we were going for the 3000, 2000, the 5000.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Let's move. This is just the introduction of the topology. We'll see that how we can tackle with our topology in our lab environment. Sanjay, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes, yes. Now I got it. Means it is totally depend on the throughputs and the capacity of the box.
Someone told me long back that all different network means whatever network you are seeing in different places, all these network deployments are different. So no two different network they are matching. It's like DNA. Not DNA samples they are not matching. You'll find that network there are differences. Even if you have one router, one switch, still you'll find difference In one router, one switch, somewhere you'll find one switch connected with 10 port, other switch connected with 20 ports. Somewhere you'll find that switch is connected with server, printer, some wireless routers, etc. When we are talking about enterprise level architecture, you can understand how complex this is. And it's totally depend upon the requirement plus future requirement or acquisitions. So there are so many variables while we are designing the enterprise level network. All right, let's go ahead and check that while you create your own lab or while you deploy this inside any infrastructure, what are the steps? So these steps are common. These are steps you have to use everywhere. So we may have cloud deployment, means you can deploy these devices over the cloud, or you may have on-prem deployment, means inside your network, inside your enterprise network, or inside your data center, you are doing this deployment, right? So in any way, either you are deploying over the cloud or you are doing some you are doing deployment over your own infrastructure within the premises, the steps are almost same. There are some common link, there are some common configuration that you should keep in mind. Sometimes we are telling this as a bootstrap configuration. So anyone, okay, I'll specify this. Jitender, what does it mean by bootstrap?
But I don't know what is Bootstrap. This is the Bootstrap is a version of iOS related. When we are going to upgrade or install, there is a showing the Bootstrap version.
Okay, Sanjay.
As I know that the bootstrap means while we are doing the RMA of these BS devices, so first we are going to log in into the vManage, and there is the three dots is the vManage, and when we are clicking on the three dots, there is the option is coming for the bootstrap. So this bootstrap is having the all the configuration, or the you can say the initial level of configuration of the VS devices. That is as branch side. So we are
You're
just doing the copy and paste it in the.
100%.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. I had done some research on this bootstrap. Bootstrap is one, one small piece when we are fitting our shoe,
Good
that
example.
they are giving something. Actually, that is bootstrap. The actual
Yes,
meaning
yeah.
of bootstrap is that one. But in networking term, that is a small coding or a small program that will be used to fit bigger operating system booting. It's something like that.
Yes.
Yes. So it is a basic configuration. Means when
Yeah.
we are going to initial bring up the VS devices, we need to configure this minimum configuration in the VS devices that is coming under the bootstrap.
Yeah. So that's the exact correct definition. Minimum configuration required to bring up a device is nothing but your bootstrap. 100% right. Okay. So what does it mean by this minimum configuration? And do we need this minimum configuration to bring up our lab as well? Answer is yes. We have some sort of bootstrap configuration. That means that once you spin up your edge devices or vManage or vSmart or vBond, etc., you need some small piece of configuration, 10 or 15 line of configuration. If you run that 10 to 15 line of configuration, your device will come up. You have that management interface, you have the management IP, you can log into the device. Once you log into the device, then you can go and then you can use, or you can do some sort of day 1 to day n configuration. So bootstrap you can think as a day 0 or maybe prior to day 0 configuration. So once you have prior to day 0 configuration, then you can go and build, you can put other configurations like AAA configuration, SNMP configuration, QoS policies, access policies, data policy, whatever. But first of all, you have to understand about this bootstrap configuration. This is the minimum configuration required to bring up that particular device. Okay. Great. So what are the steps we have to bring up our lab? You can see here the steps here I have listed. First of all, the 1 to 9 step that you can see on your screen is related to controllers. And then in bottom, you can see these steps are related to edge devices. Now, configuration wise, these steps are easy. Only problem you will find while bringing up your lab is the certificate. Okay, signing these certificate with some CA authority, or you can make vManage as your CA server, and from vManage you can enroll all those certificate to all those devices. Okay, so we are going to understand this certification process in deep, one by one, step by step. Okay, so let's start with controller deployment. Here you can see that install the hypervisor means you need some sort of compute, either it's KVM or it's ESXi or it's any type of virtual environment, because remember one thing, all these controllers, they are software. Okay, so it's a vManage or vSmart or vBond, they are software. Okay, there is some exception with vBond. I'll cover that later on, but all your edge devices, they may be software or they may be hardware as well. It's up to us. So we have two flavor. Either we want to use software version or hardware version. They are both. Any doubt in this statement?
So
No,
if you
sir.
are talking about the software, so we need to install this KVM hypervisor in the customer premises or maybe at data center, right?
Customer premises, data center, yes. So
Means
this
instead of
is
the one standalone device, we need to use this KVM hypervisor on the Linux platform, and then we can create a one virtual machine like means VH, and then we can provide the connectivity. Right?
that's right. Yeah. So you need some sort of server. Either this server is hosted over cloud, and that cloud hosted controller. So I'm just focusing on this portion at the moment, controllers. Okay, step number 1 to 9, controller deployment. So these controllers you can deploy on-prem, means any server, any blade server, maybe UCS or any type of server inside your data center, or you can host these services over cloud. So in that case, Cisco will provide you all these controllers, pre-built everything. What you need to do the authentication process. Okay, suppose if you have your if you have a VH in your laptop, for example, you will spin one VH in your laptop, right? And then I can provide you cloud controllers. So cloud controllers over maybe dcloud. dcloud, we have all those controllers, right? Now your VH in your laptop can be part of that controller that is hosted in dcloud. So at the moment you can reach to the controller, either it's in data center or cloud, you should have reachability. At the moment you'll go and do the authentication, that means you're part of Fabric. Okay, great. So you can see that you need some sort of compute, you need KVM, ESXi, etc. Then you have to go and spin up the VM virtual machine, right? Then install the image for vManage, vBond, vSmart. We are going to perform these tasks, so don't worry. I am going to show you step number 1, 2, and 3. Then create the minimum configuration for vManage. See, this minimum configuration is nothing but Bootstrap configuration. And this minimum configuration is actually very small piece of configuration. I'm going to show you that just a while. Then create the minimum configuration for vBond, create the minimum configuration for vSmart, So step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, we are going to perform today as well and tomorrow as well. So I'll repeat it. You will understand that. Then step number 7, 8, 9 are interesting. And actually, there is no much clear document about this, that how behind the scene things are working. But it's interesting that you will understand this thing. When we are installing these controllers in our premises, okay, so that process is very much manual. And if you are doing the certifications for edge devices, that process is very much automatic. Automation is there. Means to bring up the devices in VH, obviously you will go and do the install and all those things when we are talking about software part. Even for hardware deployment, it's much easy. Just plug the cable and it will be online. It's like that. Okay, software part, because you have to install the software, you have to put some IP connectivity, reachability, etc., etc. So some configuration is still there, some hard work is still there. But if it is a hardware, just connect the cable. If it is able to reach to the controller, it will get the certificate. Okay, so here, and one question is there, that why it is very much manual in case of controller, and it's automated in case of edge devices. And I'm talking about only certification part, certificate enrollment and all those things we have to do it manually. But edge devices will register automatically, almost automatic. Why? So answer for this is this, that you think, okay, how many controllers I have? Please mute from your side if you're not talking, because I'm recording, it will go to YouTube or other platform. All right. So you think like this, that you'll find that you may have maybe 10 to 15 controllers overall. And we are going to discuss about the requirement of controller and how many control connection they can handle, how many T-log connections they can handle, all those things, scalability and redundancy. Wait for that, I'll come to that. But maximum how many controllers you have? 10 to 15. How many edge devices you have? You may have 2,000 to 10,000 in that range. Now for all 2,000 to 10,000 devices, you will not do manual certification, right? It's not practical. But for 10 to 15 devices, you can do manual certification. There is no problem. Okay, so that's the practical approach. You'll find that certification process nowadays, certification process is also automated if you follow some Cisco root certificates and all. And even what Cisco is doing in that regard, Cisco is telling, okay, use my cloud and then connect your devices. So they will provide you all the controllers, and then what you have to do, simply you run your devices, connect, create some control connection with those devices, and it will work fine. You'll find that most of the enterprises, I think 98%, 97, 98% enterprises, they are using cloud hosted controllers. Only few places, maybe China and other places, you'll find that they don't rely on other cloud. So they are not using the cloud hosted controllers. But most of the places, most of the company, most of the countries, I mean, 97, 98%, they have cloud hosted controllers. Why? The reason behind this is this, that if you are using cloud hosted services, then the owner of that cloud or owner of that service, he will upgrade the image, he will maintain all the devices, he will maintain high availability, he will maintain reachability. He has to maintain all those things. So from business perspective, what do you think, that, oh, I am paying him some license fees, I am paying him some service charge, etc. That part of that. So you will not hire any specific engineer within the company to manage those, those images and those devices hosted over cloud. Great. Any question you have?
I have two questions. So this is not mandatory, right? We have to put this control on the VM. I can put in a physical server also, right? Or is there any roadblock?
These controllers you can put in any compute, yes.
Okay. So now you told another thing, right? Putting in a cloud base because they will manage upgrade and anything,
Yes.
other things. So I'm a client, right? I'm installing all the VMs and I'm putting all the software. So managing software will not be from our side, client side.
No, they will manage. If we are using Cisco Cloud, vManage and all the controllers, then they will manage everything, but they will give you the dashboard from where you can manage the configuration, manage the network, you know, you can upgrade your edge devices, software, images, configuration, compliance, you can manage everything. But just the hardware part of that is the update of the software for the controllers, they will manage. This is actually a very good question. Yeah, thanks for
So
asking
they will
this.
take our permission or like they will
Obviously
take
they
client
will,
permission.
obviously, yeah, they will notify you that we are going to upgrade this, because if your management plane is down, still you don't have any problem. 100% they will take permission. Without taking permission, they will not do any activity. That's right.
Okay.
Great. So let's move on this particular part. So what we want to do here, that install this, spin up and do this configuration. What I'm going to do, I will show you step number 1, 2, 3 in my laptop, and then I will come to this minimum configuration and other part. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So let's do it together. I have my VMware 12.x Pro. Okay. You can see nothing is there. And then I'm going to share you the image. Some old image, it has some less RAM and other requirements. And before going there, in case you're looking for a step-by-step document, vmanage install over ESXi. I need Cisco document. Yeah. They're nice documents that Cisco is providing, a step-by-step deployment and all. Okay, you have to study all these things you have to study. Okay. I was thinking some better, even I have some better document, better in sense that um wording is better. There's so many things here, and good thing about this is that I'm going to cover everything, whatever you are seeing written here. Okay, this was not the document I was looking for. Viptela. This was the Viptela initial page. You can see Cisco Viptela, or maybe you can see that Cisco has moved everything to this format. And this format was little bit better. So if you read this document from here, let me reopen that. So what it is telling that I don't think so you're able to check this. Let me do something here. Huh. Let me do something. Okay, this is a little better. Okay. Just give me 1, 2 seconds. I'll go to that place where it will tell you that the steps related to installation. Initially, this document was good. I have some old document where you'll understand more about this thing. A stepwise installation. Here I'm not seeing. I will search that document in my laptop and I'll share with you. But what Cisco is doing, I don't know. I'm going to show you all the steps in my laptop. There should be some better document. I have some old document I'll share with you, so don't worry about that. Let me go to my machine here. You can see that I have 3 different images. We manage, see VH, VSmart, and then we manage. Okay. Now this VH, it's interesting. This VH will work as a vBond as well. So you can see that there is no extra image for vBond because these edge devices, they are working as a vBond. So there is no separate image for edge and vBond. Okay, great. So let me go and open this with VMware workstation. I'm going to show you the deployment for vManage. Now, when you are running vManage, again, there are some restriction when you are running this vManage. This vManage should have some sort of database. So what controllers you have? You have vManage, right? You have vSmart and you have vBond. Now this vManage, there are some prerequisites that you should have one VPN 0. At the moment, I haven't explained you about VPN 0 and VPN 512. That's the management interface, but I'm going to explain this in 10 to 15 minutes. So it should have, the vManage should have at least 2 interfaces. If you check the document, it will tell you that it should have at least 3 interfaces. 2 interface, one for connecting the WAN, VPN 0. One is for management interface that you can log into the device. Okay. And one is if you are creating the cluster of vManages. So you should have at least 3 interfaces created in vManage. At the moment, I'll go create only 2 because I have only one vManage. But in any case, if you are forming the cluster, you should have 3 interfaces. Okay. Now for vSmart and vBond, it's okay if we have only 2 interfaces. So you have VPN 0, VPN 512. That's okay. VPN 0, VPN 512. That's okay. These VPNs are nothing but VRF, virtual routing forwarding instances. You have separate global routing table. You have separate management routing table. That's the overall idea. A separation between the WAN interface and the management interface. Okay. Now, that's the one very important thing. The second very important thing is this, that vManage, they are collecting all the configurations, template, policies, etc. So vManage should have some sort of database, right? So when you are doing the deployment for vManage, you should give some sort of a space for database. You can go, and ideal situation is 50 GB, but if you go and check the document, it depends upon how large your infrastructure. If the infrastructure is large, then you can go for 200 GB, 300 GB, 500 GB. It purely depends upon the infra, how big you have. Okay, so you can discuss more about the designing of the vManage as well, that high availability and redundancy, how much database it require, etc. Now, for this particular lab environment, I will go and give only 20 GB of space because anyways, we don't have much configuration and all. Okay, so I'm going to focus on deployment of a vManage only for today's session. Later on, we'll see that how we can go and deploy other components.
One
So,
question.
yeah, please.
So as you said, right, vManage needs another enterprise if you're building a cluster. So vSmart and vBond, the same thing is applicable, right? Or if you're putting in a cluster?
Yeah, that's good question. For redundancy, we are creating cluster for vManage, but for controllers and vBond, we are doing some other thing. So we are not making cluster for vSmart and vBond, but there are some other way we are making that redundant. That will fall under class number maybe 10 or 12. We
Okay,
have
fine.
one separate topic we have related to high availability and redundancy. So there you will understand that how we can make it high available and redundant vBond, vSmart and vManage.
Thank
Yeah, I have one question here. You have going to this KVM machine and installing the vManage. So what is the step to reach in this KVM machine?
Oh, this you are telling.
Yes, means
This is
suppose
just
that if we
the
want to,
VMware workstation.
so VMware workstation.
Yeah. You can simply, okay, let me show you that. I may have,
Yeah, I just wanted to know about the steps.
Mm, today only I have downloaded some new version of this program download where you are documents. You have to just click, it will get installed. So nothing in that. See, you can see here I have workstation 12.16. This is just the .exe file.
Mhm.
You can simply go click, see 16. I don't want to complete this process, but simply go click, and just like any software, it will get installed in your laptop.
Okay. In my laptop, I have the VMware Horizon client, so that's why I'm thinking in that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So it is a different, so VMware workstation.
Yeah, workstation. Like
Mm.
what I can say, not VMware class, but I will tell you one thing
You can just
that
share the URL link so that we can download for the home lab.
okay, I will upload this to the shared drive. You can download from there. See, when
Yeah,
we are
please.
talking about hypervisor, so there
Mhm.
may be different type of hypervisors. So there may be that you have your hardware, and on top of your hardware, you are installing the hypervisor, right?
Correct.
So that is ESXi. In our case, it is something like this, that we have the hardware, and on top of that, we are running the operating system, that I have Windows or you may have Linux, etc. Windows. And then on top of Windows, I am running one other hypervisor software, that is VMware Workstation. VMware Workstation. And in this VMware Workstation, we are running vManage.
Okay.
You can directly install your vManage here as well, directly to the ESXi.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
So,
have one question.
mhm.
My laptop is Mac, okay. So I have VMware Fusion. So I can directly install this, or I need to import ESXi host or EVMG.
For Mac also, VMware has VMware Workstation.
Yeah, VMware Fusion, that is already I am having.
Then you
So,
can simply go and follow the steps I am using.
okay.
And
Okay.
what is the size of this VMware workstation file? .exe file.
File is 400, 500 MB.
Okay. Then it's good.
All right. Let's go back here. So you can see that what I have done, I simply double click to the image that I have. And once you double click, you'll reach to this place. Once you are here, you need to add extra hard disk, right? So go and double click to the hard disk, or close this. Here you can see that you have this option called edit virtual machine setting. So here also you can click and this page will come. Once you reach to this particular page, you can see that you can go to the hard disk. You can go and click to the hard disk, and in the bottom you can see there is add button. I want to add extra hard disk here. Again, I can go and choose hard disk is there. You can see on top. Click next. I want IDE. Yes. Create a new virtual hard disk. And I want to give 20 GB of hard disk space. That is more than enough. It is creating some VMDK file. And now you can see that I have IDE1 18 GB, IDE2 something 20 GB. That will serve my purpose. Then here you can see that network interfaces. I have only one network interface that I don't want. So you can click to network interface, network adapter. In bottom, you have this add button. Click there, go to the network adapter. You want to add more? Yes. And here you can choose this wisely. I'm using this custom specific virtual network. I want to use VMnet1 host only. Finish. This is one. You can see that I have VMnet1. Likewise, I can go and add one more network adapter. Next, custom 2. Finish. Okay. So now you can see that I have added two interfaces here. Oops, I don't want to. So you can see here adapter 1 and adapter 2. I have added one hard disk of 20 GB. Then you can see this green button, power on this virtual machine. Simply double click there. 16.2.11 version, it is showing that it will start installing. It will take 1 to 2 minutes. It will not take much time. Again, it depends upon your laptop configuration. If it is less, then it may take 3-4 minutes. Otherwise, in my case, it is taking less than 2 minutes. So it is showing system ready. That's good. The username and password admin. Once you type admin, then it will ask you, you want to boot this? You have two available storage, 20 GB and 3 GB. I will go and use option number 1. And while you watch the recording, you just follow this step. Option number 1. Would you like to format? Yes. Proceed anyway? Yes. And that's it. So now behind the scene, it is installing that package, all those file system, everything inside this hypervisor. Again, it will take 1 to 2 minutes. I think less than that. Once you get that message called system ready, that means you are ready to go. System ready. So I can type admin. That is default username password. And now you have your vManage ready. Okay. Now this particular vManage, if you go and check show interface description, you'll find that one of the interface called ETH0. Remember, we have taken 3 different interfaces. One was there by default, and then 2 we have added. Okay, so you can see that everything by default here. Here you have to think about the minimum configuration. So by default, everything here it's part of VPN 0. Let me highlight. VPN 0, technically VPN 0 assumed to be connected with WAN. It's your WAN interface or going towards the cloud. And your management interface should be VPN 512. Should be your management interface. MGMT and this should be your VPN 0. Now, while doing the initial configuration, there may be chance that VPN 0 is going inside VPN 512, etc. Means some interfaces. So maybe ETH 0 should be part of VPN 512. But here it is part of VPN 0. So you have to go and you have to do little bit edit inside the configuration. Okay, I will show you that how you can go and edit, so don't worry. Let me clear this. Up to this point, if you have any doubt, you can ask.
So for initial VMware, we need to put 4 GB RAM and some 20 GB hard disk. That is enough. Huh?
You can see I
VMware?
took I think, what was the specification? Again, if you want to check the specification, let me power off this. Once you power off this, then you can see memory is 4 GB. You can use processor 2. So that is sufficient for vManage. Even for a vSmart and vBond as devices, you can give less, that will work. 2 GB of or 1 GB of RAM will work.
Okay. And when you are importing the VMware, how much memory RAM you should allocate for VMware?
There is nothing specific for VMware.
No, for me, when it comes for VMware, you can allow like resource.
It is taking very less resource. It's a lightweight software, not taking much.
Okay.
And yeah, you have giant laptop, right? You have 64 GB RAM, right?
Yeah. I have to see that.
So no need to worry.
Okay.
All right.
Sir, I have one question, sir. I have installed in the VMware in my laptop,
Mhm.
but I don't have any image of the Viptela or vManage software. I
Okay.
cannot
I
import.
will share all the images today.
Then I will do the live practical, sir.
Yeah, sure. Please. Okay.
Okay,
Great.
sir.
So let's move on. And by any chance, if you want to learn this VMware and all, if you are new to VMware, I have one link. I have one 3-hour course related to VMware. You can go watch that 3-hour video. You will understand about virtual NIC, virtual hard disk, virtual RAM, everything is there. All basics with lab that is covered. Okay, I'll share you the link. So admin, and show interface description. Now, before doing any configuration here, I just wanted to give you a few hints about minimum configuration. So I'll come back to that particular lab in maybe 10-15 minutes, but I just wanted to tell you about this minimum configuration, and then I'll come back there. Let me clear this, and that is there in the slide as well. Let me skip few of the slide. I'll come back to all these slides. Yeah. So minimum configuration. Now, before coming to that minimum configuration, everyone in this class, they know router switch configuration, right? So if you configure router or switch, if you go there and if you do show run router or switch, what you will get? It will give you the configuration related to AAA, then it will give you configuration over interfaces, then it will give you configuration about some QoS policy, some routing policy, oops, and SNMP, etc. Right? Means the configuration is there, but that configuration is there in terms of CLI. So you'll get all those CLI options and everything. Any doubt in this? No doubt, right? In Cisco router switches, you have this type of configuration. Now, when we are coming to template-driven world, nowadays you'll see that over SDN, over controllers, you can create the template, and those templates you can push to n number of devices. Correct? Why we have templates? Why we are creating templates? Any answer for this?
Easy to
Yeah,
use
the
on multiple device, right? For the same purpose.
template is the basic framework of the complete configuration. Means whatever the configuration we need to put it like BGP, OSPF, QoS policy, everything in the template manner. So it is the basic building of the configuration, complete configuration.
Yeah, 100% right. Sam, you want to answer this? Maybe he's not there. All right, Amit. Okay, Jitender.
Yes, sir.
Why we are creating templates?
Sir, I don't have the information.
Okay, no problem. So Sanjay, he told you about this basic configuration as something like that, correct? It's 100% right. But if you go for interview, they will they may ask you that is why we are creating templates, managing templates, and all those things. But the answer means exact answer for this is the standardization. What we want in our network, we want that all the devices, they should have same type of configuration. So if you have same type of configuration, same type of policy, it's easy to maintain that. Think like this, that if you're managing 4 or 5 devices, if those 4 or 5 devices, they are deviating in the standard configuration, that's okay, still you can manage. But if you are managing 4,000, 5,000 different devices with all set of different lines of configuration, then it's very difficult to manage them. So one of the key feature that we want to create, manage the device configuration via templates, to do the standardization of the configuration. Okay. Now in Cisco world, I like this Cisco template where, although this is little bit complex, but it's still you can understand that. So what Cisco is doing in their Viptela world is this, that they have a small templates. These are small templates. Cisco is telling these are small templates as a feature template, FT, feature template. Now, these feature templates, so n number of feature templates can make device template. So what does it mean by feature template? So you may have feature template for AAA. You may have a feature template for in Viptela world, that is VPN 0, VPN 512. You may have template for SNMP. You may have template for syslog. You may have template for BGP. You may have template for OSPF. All these are terms as, all these small templates are termed as a feature template. But you package all these feature templates in big bucket, that will termed as a device template. One big configuration having 15 templates, one big device configuration having 20 feature templates, etc. Okay. Now in our case, we are going to talk about minimum configuration, right? So in this minimum configuration, how much configuration we need? Only maybe 10-line configuration we need to bring up the device. That will be your bootstrap configuration. So here you can see that inside minimum configuration, I need, let me change the color. Yeah. So I need system IP. You can see here system IP, site ID, organization name, vBond IP, host name. This is system configuration, system config. And then you need a VPN 0 configuration. And even you need some VPN 512 configuration as well. So these 5 item, VPN 0 2 item, VPN 512 2 item, less than 10 line of configuration you need to bring up your device. Okay, that will be your bootstrap configuration. Obviously you will understand once we will perform these things in the lab. Okay, so you have system-wide configuration. In system-wide configuration, you can see that you have system IP, site ID, organization name, vBond IP, host name. That will be the host name. All the devices, they have the host name, right? And you need a VPN 0, VPN 512. This is our minimum configuration. So I'm going to show you this in our device here. Let me go back here. Where is our device? Here it is. You can see that we don't have management IP configured so far. So I can do one thing, that I can show run VPN 0, check the VPN 0 configuration. It is telling that inside VPN 0 you have ETH 0, where we have IP DHCP client, getting the IP from DHCP, right? Okay, so I'll do one thing. I will go and move ETH2 inside VPN 512. Like Cisco, conf t, go to VPN 0 first, type no interface ETH2, and then go to VPN 512, and then assign the interface ETH2 here, do the no shutdown, then finally give the IP DHCP client, and then you have to do commit and quit. So before entering here, I'm just giving one pause while you watch the recording. You need this change in your lab. I need a VPN 512 IP address. Why? Because if we have VPN 512 IP address, then we can actually log into the device via SSH via PuTTY. At the moment, we are using VMware workstation console, something like that. So if I do commit and quit, and if I go here and check show interface description now, oops, still it is not getting some IP. So 512 interface should get the IP. Otherwise, I have to go to VMware and I have to set DHCP for ETH2 as well. That I will not show you today. Otherwise, it will be little bit complex. What I can do here, I can reverse the interfaces with the configuration. So that is easier for me at the moment. I can go to VPN 0. I'll do no interface ETH 0. And then I can go to VPN 512. I'll do no interface ETH 2. And then I can assign interface ETH 0 here. IP DHCP client, no shutdown. Likewise, I can go to VPN 0. I can assign interface ETH2 here. IP DHCP client, no shutdown. Commit and quit. Let's see. If everything is there, it will show you that, okay, your configuration is good. You can check and check show run VPN 512. Since VPN 512 have the configuration, but it is not showing in the interface. See, these are small problems you will tackle when you work with the VMware workstation. But anyways, because I know that how to overcome, so I'll overcome from here. Okay, don't worry, I'll show you all these steps. Let me go back to VPN 512 one more time and interface. Okay, VPN 0 one more time. No interface ETH1. 512 interface ETH1. No shutdown. IP DHCP client. commit and quit. I just need one IP address to access this device. Later on, we will check more on this. So interface description. My DHCP is not enabled on those interfaces. It's not working.
So during configuration, mention there the no interface it is 0.
Okay.
Then after that each one is removed here, not so.
Okay. So VPN 512, I can go ahead and then do say interface ETH maybe 1, no shutdown, right? And IPDHCP client, and then commit and quit. Oops. Show run. If you check the show run configuration, you can see that over VPN 512, you have ETH0 and you have ETH1, right? So there is no problem with the configuration. Whatever we want to move, we have moved it. The problem only here is this, that I have to go to VMware and I have to set this DHCP over the interfaces. Okay, so then it will take the IP, but this is a little bit complex for today's class. I will not do that. But anyways, I will show you assigning some IP address. So please don't worry about that.
No,
At the
here is
moment
the
you can. Mhm.
here is the concept here. Na? When you are running the command show interface description,
Mhm.
in the previously there is a showing the two interfaces, ETH0 and ETH1.
Because here this interface description is not showing me the show interface VPN 512 is not showing anything related to VPN 512.
If we can power recycle this VMware workstation, so maybe it will come in picture.
It's okay. Before powering it, we will check certain things. What I need to do, I have to go and do some changes in the network setting. So here you have network setting. I have to do some tweaking there. It will take IP on the VPN 0 as well, VPN 512 as well. So there is no problem on that. Okay. At the moment, I just wanted to show you one more thing. Just be with me. VPN 512, no interface ETH0. Then I can go to VPN 0, interface ETH0, IP DHCP client, no shutdown, commit and quit. Show interface description. So it's taking one IP. Later on, we'll discuss more that how to move this over management interface, because we need one IP in management, one IP we need here as well. So 192, 168.149.129 is the IP. Now, if I can go to party here, what's the IP? 149.129. 168.149.129. This is 149.128, right? Great. I want to do SSH, username and password, admin. Let's see. So we are here inside vManage, right? Okay. And now you can see this show run VPN 0, show run VPN 512, show interfaces description. in this description, this VPN 5.2 is not coming. It should come here also. All the interfaces, whatever VRFs you will create, everything should come here as well. Although I have done this no shutdown and all, but it is not showing here. No problem. We'll check this later on. This is your vManage. And if you go here and type show run, I'm telling you about the minimum configuration. So what is that minimum configuration? Inside system itself, you should have host name, you should have vBond IP, you should have right here. So what are the things we need for the minimum configuration?
Yeah, we need a system IP.
Host name,
Host,
correct? Then we need system IP. Good.
Side
Very
IP ID.
and VPN 0
site
configuration.
ID. So
And it-
site ID. Very good. Then
Yeah. Then VPN
vBond
0, vBond
vBond
IP.
IP. Yeah. At the
VBON
moment
address.
I'm inside system. So inside system itself, you need 5 things. Okay. What are the thing you need?
So organization name is not required, right here?
Is required. Otherwise certification will not form org name. So these 5 things you need inside system. Then you need VPN 0 and VPN 512 and VPN 512. Okay. If you have that configuration, your system will come up. It will work. All right. So we are going for break. Before going to the break, I will show you that once you bring up this device, then you can go and log into the GUI as well. Show interface description. What's the IP? So this is the IP and this is our vManage IP as well. I can go here somewhere. You can do HTTPS advanced. This is your dashboard. You can see that this is little bit old, but whatever things that we have in the current dashboard, you can do most of the operation from here as well. Yeah, it is fast as well. Viptela vManage. Now it is Cisco vManage. All right. So you have any doubt up to this point?
So you will share us the latest image also, right? If you want to run.
Latest image I will share with you. Yes. You
Because
can
I don't
also
have any
download if
RAM
you have
issue.
CCO account, you can download as well. But I'll also share.
Okay. Another doubt like the IP.
Yep, resuming the recording. So what we have discussed so far, that when you try to deploy this controller, these controllers over any compute, you have to follow certain steps. What we have done, we have our VMware workstation. Inside that VMware workstation, we imported that image. Once we imported that image, we have to check the variables as well. That means for vManage, we need how much minimum hard disk, we need how many minimum interfaces. Those parameters we should consider while creating the VMware instance. Now, once that device is imported, that image will import or get imported inside the VMware workstation, then we need some sort of minimum configuration. Now, in that minimum configuration, you need system-wide minimum configuration, and then you need VPN-wide minimum configuration. Correct? So once we have the minimum configuration for vManage, likewise, I'll show you for vBond and vSmart as well in next session. Then we have to follow some sort of certification process. All these steps and process I'm going to show you in the next session because it will take some time. So tomorrow we have to bring up our lab up and running. Once our lab will up and running, then we can go and upgrade that. Okay. Now what is happening behind the scene? So once you are bringing the controllers, once you are bringing the edge devices, so what they are doing, let's check the theoretical part of that. So here you can see that you have the vBond, that's the orchestrate. Oops, you have 1 second. So you have the vBond, you have the vManage, you have the vSmart, right? Now all these controllers, they are doing some sort of mutual authentication. You can see that they are doing some PKI certificate exchange. They are forming either DTLS tunnel or TLS tunnel. Again, when I will perform the lab, you will see that options will come. You want to form the DTLS tunnel, you want to form the TLS tunnel. Now, one interview question here is this, that what type of tunnels these controllers they are forming. So we know that we have three different type of tunnels. We have three different type of controllers. We have vManage. So vManage can go and form the TLS, transport layer security or label security, DTLS, some sort of dynamic transport level security. What is difference between TLS and DTLS? I'll tell you. This is SSL, secure socket layer, TCP based. We know that TCP is the reliable protocol and they are doing three-way handshaking and then working. This is SSL based, but this is UDP based. UDP seems too unreliable, but it is fast with compared to TCP because it's working on some sort of broadcast type of technology. You're sending, either you're receiving the acknowledgement or not, but still you're sending the packets. That is not the case with TCP. It's some sort of reliable communication because you're sending, you're receiving the acknowledgement, and in that sequence, you're sending the packet. Okay. So the point here is this, that when we are talking about the controller number 3, that is vBond. vBond will always form DTLS with all the controllers. It will never go and form the TLS because it is not required. But in between vManage and vSmart, you will find TLS. Okay. But any case that either it's forming DTLS or TLS tunnels, they are doing small mutual authentication. So I am checking your credentials, you are checking my credentials, and in between you and me, overall the transactions, overall the communication is highly encrypted. I can see the encryption label is AES 256, Advanced Encryption System. Seems you have any question you can ask.
Yeah, how we decided that what type of the connection is between this vSmart, means if you are talking means maybe it is the DTLS or TLS. So it is automatically decided by the controller, or we need to set it manually?
We need to set it manually.
Okay, so which one we need to prefer in the real-time scenario? Because TLS is the TCP based and it is reliable, and DTLS is the UDP based, so it is a temporary
TLS only. In between
TLS.
vManage and vSmart, TLS, and in between vBond and other, you don't have other option. You have to use DTLS.
So vManage and the vSmart, we need to connect it through this TLS connection, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
That is
then
the
why
secure.
we are discussing about the TLS or DTLS? Means suppose that any type of connection we need to form it. So if it is the my real-time scenario, it is always using the TLS, then what is the need of the DTLS here?
Need of DTLS is this, that VBond, they are forming DTLS, and Cisco is providing you both the option to choose DTLS, TLS in between vSmart and vManage.
Okay, so between the vBond and the vManage, we are forming the DTLS connection or TLS connection. But this vSmart and vManage, it should be always the TLS. Am I right?
We have option either to choose TLS or DTLS.
Okay.
Here you don't have option. Here always DTLS.
So vBond to vSmart and vBond to this vManage, always the DTLS connection, right?
Yeah, here you have option.
Okay, but we are always using the TLS between this vSmart and vManage.
Yes, most of the cases, most of the organization, they are using TLS. But you have option. You can use DTLS, you can use TLS.
Okay, so which one will be good here in the
Obviously,
practical scenario?
TLS is always good. It's a secure.
So why we are giving DTLS option here? Because both option they are giving, so we are practically using always the TLS.
No, means all the organization will not use TLS all the time. There may be some issue related to controller or something. You want to change the mode and check. You want to change the mode and troubleshoot. No, it's not the case for all the companies all the times. Most of
it is depend on the organization, huh?
Yes,
They are just doing a part of the troubleshooting, they can change it.
100% right. Some of the enterprise level, they are very sensitive with security, so they will never use DTLS. Even they will never think about DTLS.
Okay. Okay.
I have one question. This vBond, any reason like why only DTLS, like that is built like in that way?
This is a really good question. Why vBond they are forming DTLS, or why we have only DTLS option? This is a really good question. When I will answer this, I will answer this here in these slides. Okay.
Okay.
After 2-3 slides, I'll answer this.
No problem. I have another doubt. Like you are saying, right? This controller, everything I can put in a Cisco cloud, right? So when I'm putting in a Cisco cloud, so this connection, everything will be like it's managed by Cisco or like the customer is managing?
The hardware and the software Cisco will manage, but all the configuration we have to manage.
Okay.
Great. Good questions. Okay, let's move here. You can see this is just a slide, one slide. But if you go in detail, it will take time to understand. There is one trick in this particular slide. You will understand everything if you use that slide, that trick. So I'm going to show you that trick here to understand this. See, here you have vBond, here you have vSmart and vManage. Now you can see this particular portion and this particular portion. So how this certification process is working, let's understand. Certificates are exchanged and mutual authentication take place, that we know. Means vSmart, vManage, vBond, they will challenge themselves, their peers, and if they're satisfied, then only they will form either TLS or DTLS connection. Okay, no brainer. Then these are statements. vBond validate vSmart and vManage certificate serial number against authorized whitelist. This is the tricky one, and we need to understand this. And this is one of the reason that not all the reason, but one of the reason that why vBond is DTLS. Okay, now try to understand that vBond, and there may be one other thing as well, that in Cisco why we have different controllers. So vBond, somehow they know that what is vManage and vSmart certificate serial number. So they know the certificate serial number, that means vBond. Now that certificate serial number, that certificate actually, you know that organization name is a part of certificate. Whenever you are creating the certificate, you should have to give the org name as well. So that means that vBond is validating the certificate number, whatever they have already in their bucket or in their list, right? Now, how the vBond will get the certificate number? Who will provide it? Any answer for that?
What you're asking, the certificate, huh?
Yeah, so I'm telling you this, that we know access list, right? ACL, access control list. What is
Yeah.
that? Is it line items? So any packet that will not match that access list, it will drop. But still you have to configure the access list to the device. So vBond is checking the serial, vBond is checking the certificate serial number, right? You can see vBond validate vSmart and vManage certificate serial number against authorized whitelist. So this authorized whitelist, from where vBond will get that? That's the question.
CSR, right?
It's not CSR. CSR you are telling. Okay.
CSR will be
CSR
generated
is,
and will be there, right?
yeah,
In
yeah.
the vBond list.
Means
how it
we
will
have
look?
to manually create the list of the organizations and the certificate number and install in this vBond so that it will know about the who is the customer or end user to validate it.
Yeah, you are right, but maybe 90%. Because remember, when we deploy our controller here, you can see the controller, we are inside vManage. We are not inside the vBond. Even vBond is still sleeping. He's not up and running. So how vBond will get the file, whitelist file? Anyhow,
Yeah,
you'll find that. Yep.
yeah, there is a GTP process that I know. Means there is a GTP server. From the server, they can get the this information.
You're again right. Yeah. The GTP server will be there, but we are not doing plug and play for the controllers. So zero touch provisioning or plug and play, these things will come into the picture, right? When we are
Correct,
bringing
correct.
up the edge devices.
Correct. Yeah, I remember right now. Yeah, there is the option for the Cisco is giving to the whitelisting the devices because nowadays we are doing this RMA of the VS devices. So there is the plug and play. So this plug and play is basically used for the whitelist of the device. So we are putting the serial number and this model number of the VS devices to
Yeah,
authenticate means whitelisting these VS devices.
yeah. So this is little bit advanced question, maybe who will not understand, they haven't logged into the plug and play software or plug and play URL. Cisco, they are providing plug and play URL. That means whenever you are purchasing the software or hardware from Cisco, Cisco will give you some licenses. Those licenses you can go and check to the plug and play server. Okay, that plug and play server can do the communication with your vBond. Remember, this vBond will be deployed somewhere in the DMZ zone, means somewhere the vBond, they are visible to the public cloud. So this plug and play behind the scene is also you can think as a mother of vBond, something like that. In this plug and play server, or in this plug and play URL, you can go and create a vBond profile. And whatever information you will provide here, it will sync here. Actually, it will not sync directly here. It will go and sync to the vManage, and from vManage, it will go and sync to vBond. So all processes are there behind the scene. It is happening. Either you can do it manually, means manually you can load the list inside. It's not this. This is vSmart, but here, yeah, manually you can go and upload that seat inside vManage, sync to this, or you can go to the plug and play server. Plug and play server, they are mapped with your valid. Please unmute. Please mute yourself. So plug and play. You have plug and play access. Those plug and play, they are integrated with your smart licenses or whatever Cisco smart licenses are there, where you are uploading all the devices, serial number, etc., where you can go and create your vBond profile that will get synced to vManage, and again it will get synced to vBond. Okay, so this is the complete process, and I told you that earlier that it's just one liner thing, but behind the scene, it is deep, this particular statement. Okay, if you haven't worked on plug and play server, just search plug and play Cisco server, you'll get the URL. And then if you have valid licenses, Cisco licensing, you can log into that URL and you can check that. All the DNA licenses are kept there as well, because these SD-WAN and DNA, they are coming with some DNA licenses like DNA Advantage, Premium, etc. Okay, 3 licenses are there. All right. So this is part 1. Part 2 is this. Then again, vSmart and vManage, they are validating the vBond orchestrator with organization name against locally configured one. So how they are challenging? With the organization name. So vSmart and vManage, they are checking the organization name of vBond. vBond is checking the serial number of vSmart and vManage, and then only they will go and form the DTLS here and DTLS and TLS here. Okay, any doubt in this?
Can you explain one more time the second point? What is doing? It is the certificate serial number, whatever the certificate you are purchasing, you are putting in the VMon, or if you can explain one more time. Point 2 and 3, I'm just confused.
Okay, I will explain. I'm going to explain this and then we are going to stop for today's session. Okay, I have to answer your one other question you asked, that vBond white is forming DTLS. That also I can answer. Okay, so see, I have my vBond here. Let me draw. Let me go back one step. Do I have other things? No, I don't have draw. Okay. And okay, I'm drawing here. And I think that's it. So this is your vBond. This is a vSmart and this is a vManage. Okay. Now the certification process. This already has one list called whitelist. How he got the list? Either you have pushed from your vManage to vBond and then vBond has that list, or from PNP server you have pushed that list to vBond. Okay, for this PNP and all, you need some sort of licenses, smart licenses. Your company should have the smart licenses so you can get the access to PNP server. Okay, great. Now, what vBond is checking? vBond is checking the serial certificate number. So certificate, checking the certificate, you are telling the CSR that may be correct. Signing request, something, we'll see that in upcoming class, but he checking the certificate for vSmart and vManage. That is one part of authentication, because vSmart and vManage also has to check the organization name configure to vBond and then they will form this two-way authentication. Once they have this two-way authentication, then only they will go and form some sort of DTLS tunnel here and DTLS or TLS tunnel in between vSmart and vManage. Okay. All right. So I'm going to answer you the next question that you asked, that why vBond is forming only the DTLS tunnel, and I'm going to give you answer. I'll come to this vEdge in next class, but let's check this part here. Again, I'll cover this in next session as well. At the moment, I'm covering just overview, why it is not required for vBond to form the TLS tunnel. Now, vBond is very smart. So what vBond is doing, that once they are forming the tunnel, these vBonds, they are forming just the temporary tunnels. They are just forming the temporary tunnel with edge devices. Once the vBond and vEdge devices, they will get authenticated, then this tunnel will get broken down. And you can see here in this diagram, this tunnel will get broke. And then the edge devices, they are forming the permanent or persistent tunnel only with the vSmart and vManage. Now this vBond and vSmart, obviously they have the tunnels. Okay, so you can see that separate control connections we have for the controllers. Since there is no permanent tunnel with edge devices, that's why there is no need for the TLS tunnel. Okay, but anyways, I'll cover this later on, means tomorrow, more on this. Please watch the recording. I will share this recording after maybe 2-3 hours. Before coming to next class, please watch the recording.